Is there any large part of Dima org slash Clancy that is out there but no one has discovered, or any major connections not made? Or are there any of them that haven't been made yet?
Yeah. Good question. No, yeah, there's definitely a few things. I think I don't know. There was a moment in time where I wanted to put more emphasis on why we're supposed to leave Dima. I don't know if that was ever actually fully uh, understood or realized. It has a lot to do with there's a religion inside of the city of Dima called Vialism, and there's kind of the secret of why Vialism is not good, basically. And when you discover this secret, it is the reason why you would want to leave Dima. But it takes a while to discover that secret. Ultimately, when I was sharing kind of the story uh, of Dima with not only my manager, but with Josh and Mark and a few other people, they were, I guess, semi concerned with how that story would come off. Um, I think that the song Neon Gravestones is a perfect I guess there's a reason why it's in the middle of the record. Um, I'm kind of going off on a tangent here, but so Neon Gravestones, when I wrote this, when you're signed to a label and you have a bunch of partners, whether it's through your publishing or your booking agencies, I mean, just a lot of people who work to make this work. Um, they're invested, and on some level, they can speak into what you create. Now, for Josh and I, we kind of got lucky because we got signed. We worked with Atlantic and Fueled by Ramen, and they've been very good partners because they've just kind of backed off.
Mhm.
And so with the rest of the story, like when I sat down and I told the story of Dima to a few of our label people, there were some of them that got it right away, and those are the people that like I love working with. But I'd be lying if I were to say that everyone understood it and liked it or agreed with it. And so when I guess when Neon Gravestones came around, it was like kind of another reason for them to show like I don't think this is the right direction for this record. I don't think this is the right song to have on the record. Like you could lose your career if this song isn't taken the right way. A backseat to the religion of vialism, which is found inside of Dima. And also, I guess it sounds weird saying, "Hey, here's a new record from this band, 21 Pilots." It's about they made their own religion up. That's not
Yeah, it's
that's
not a
not what I was
cult,
trying
but
to do. Yeah, that's not what I was trying. I was trying the religion itself is the antagonist of this story. And all that to say, so there's a lot of that. There's a lot about that religion and how it disguises itself as a good thing that hasn't totally been realized yet.
How do we get to Trench, Tyler? How do you go from a character-based concept into something which is an entire world, which requires so much more fleshing out and so much more color, and the videos require so much more commitment and everything else?
Yeah, well, you asked earlier, like, how was it to take a break, the hiatus, and to step away for what is now, I guess, a year. Honestly, the moment our last show, which was here in Columbus, it's like our final show of the entire cycle. I went home and I started coming up with this world, and it started to consume me. Is all I could think about. I know every aspect of this world. Like I know what the weather's like in this world, and I wanted to go there and write from that place. And this studio then kind of became, in a sense, my version of it. And I really wanted to dive deeper into the narrative of who Blurryface is, not just to me, but who he's become. It's always probably very true, but it seems a little cliche to say, we wouldn't be here without our fans, and this is about our fans, and it wouldn't be without them. But I don't think they know how much they've written the narrative. And how much of a back and forth we've been having without them really even being fully aware.
Mm.
This record is, I mean, they really did help write it. This thing wouldn't be breathing without them, and they helped create this world as well.
They know what I mean.
That song, not only is it inside of the narrative, but in that narrative, I know that I needed to leave somewhere and start this journey, and this point in between two places that a lot of us can find ourselves in, whatever version of that fits into your life. We're always trying to dance in between those two places. How do we get there? And it's scary, and you don't know what to expect, and it's kind of hard to see. And but this record is about pushing through and starting that journey between those two places.
Yeah, it feels
started, and I would never. In this record, I did not define what that where you're supposed to be is, though. There's no name for it. That's not defined, and that was intentional to be a part of this process. I knew this record was about getting up and starting that, and I'm not going to find that thing in this record yet, and that's what the song "Leave the City" does. It gets you there, and then it doesn't. Kind of drops you off and like, okay.
Scaled and icy.
It's got a blue dragon on the cover.
So what does scaled and icy mean?
Whatever.
That's it?
Whatever.
You have to listen and find out.
How did you come up with Trash the Dragon?
Ooh.
I think he came up with us.
Yeah, he came up with us. No, actually, in Dima, a trash dragon is kind of slang for a vulture. Little tidbit for you.
You, to me, as a fan, lean into your imagination in order to better comprehend. And it allows you to experience the things that maybe you are not quite ready to experience as Tyler. Truth?
Yeah. You're making me realize that this is a therapy session. No, you're right. I think that there's a version of, I guess, what I was talking about with, dealing with any monumental moment in your life. My default is to try to experience it and corral it in a way where I'm in control, not where the outside force is forcing me to react to whatever it wants to do to me. And one of the ways I feel like I'm in control is when I'm writing the story. I'm creating the world. I'm making these characters. And then I can control that world. And I guess that maybe that's just a compensation for, living in a world, and not that the world in which
out of control.
I'm living in it's not any more out of control for anyone else.
For all of us, yeah.
So, but that's how I deal with the world that you all know. That's my way of doing it.
And I completely missed the science propaganda. I completely missed what you were doing and how you were building us up to this. Like, you knew already. And I guess without an obvious question, I'm searching for some more of an idea of what it's like to exist in a point where you're looking around the corner so far, you're almost staring at the back of your own neck.
I love that, though. That's fun for me. That's a lot of fun for me. It all comes from having a fan base that care, That's something I realize it's so special. I don't think that's the thing that I've come to grips with sooner than any other monumental thing that's happened in my life. I think that I'm starting to realize quicker than anything else just how rare it is to have a fan base that really care for me and care for the stuff that Josh and I create. And but not only that, they don't need us to hang around. They make it theirs. And I think that if I were to ever be working in the music industry in a different capacity, I feel like I wouldn't bring anything to the table because I just got spoiled. I'm not going to be able to, tell some band to do this or do that because our fans, there's no one in the world like them. And I know that a lot of artists talk about their fans, very endearingly, but I care about them a lot, and I'm really proud of, what they've done for me. Never felt more out of place in my life being in New York City, eat at some, like we're gonna go get pizza. This isn't the pizza I'm used to. Just something that simple, kind of really reminding you that you're not at home anymore. And so this song to me was like I wanted to imagine that feeling again.
There's so much more to the 21 Pilots experience than just listening to music. We danced around that a little bit more. People will want to know about the title and in relation to the reverse and the way that it's within that title, there's a term, Clancy is dead. For the fans, Clancy is a character within this experience that relates to previous music and the whole concept of how that moves forward. Do you feel tied to it sometimes? Or I know you say it's your favorite thing in the world to do, but sometimes do you even sort of catch yourself with multiple writer's block where you're like, I'm having a hard enough time getting these songs out, let alone how am I going to bring these characters and give them some kind of, some resolution?
Yeah, sometimes, but I call it the Matrix effect. When you build something that's so in itself is so freeing, you can make a movie and you can let the guy fly through the air and kick you in the face and land on his feet because you don't have to answer the question, how's that possible? Because they'd be like, he's in the Matrix. And so in a lot of ways, having built this world around all the songs, every idea I have, it's in that world. And it is the explanation for why I can make that song if I want. You would think that it would be restricting, but in fact, it's kind of the opposite, where it is the explanation for why I can do whatever I want.
So why don't you just write a script, and why don't you make a movie, and why don't you write a comic book, and why don't you really throw yourself deep into that and create music and accompaniment as opposed to the accompaniment to the music?
I might do that. I think that it's just slowly as I was writing music, you start to think this is your own little thing, and it's probably not going to stack up.
It's a hell of a story. It's even more embellished because it's been so protected and surrounded by so much imagination. So I guess once the story is told,
one more record.
One more?
Mm-hmm.
In what?
There'll be an explanation and a bookend, and then we can start talking about where does that want to live now? We talked about. You said like other outlets or something.
Well, I was going to say one more record in the current volume of books, or one more record.
No, I don't think one more record. Nothing. I think one more record when it comes to the story that I've been telling for all these records, and then after that, I think then truly maybe moving on to another story or something.
I was going to say, for freedom's sake, for freedom of thought and freedom of creativity, and not to be beholden so much to this particular matrix?
Yeah, because it wears on you. As much as it's freeing to have a narrative to be writing, under, you're still under something. There's a weight there. No one wants to listen to or watch or read a story that doesn't end.
Here's the thing, though, right? As we've had this conversation, it's become clear to me that the correlation that exists between you as Tyler and the characters that you create that ultimately inhabit this world of 21 Pilots, that they are moving in tandem. So as you continue to find this kind of letting go process, and your child gets older, and you start to think about what family means and who you are as a person, that it's like this particular narrative, which served you so well during these awkward years, is kind of coming to a natural conclusion, right?
No, you're right. I know where I want to take this, but considering that the person that I am and the situations that I'm in my life right now do absolutely bleed into this story, there's still a part of it that must remain a mystery, because I don't know where I'm going to be.
Yeah.
I will say that I think that every record that I've finished, when I'm done, I'm done. And I've got nothing left. This is one where, and I don't know if it's because I've just been prepping myself I'm not going out on tour on this thing. I'm still down here. I'm like, I'm on to the next already.
You're
I'm
creating.
excited about it.
You're creating already.
Yeah, and so that's I guess concerning in a sense that, did I give everything I could have to the record, or do I just needed to? I don't think I'm that concerned about it. In fact, I think that it's solely a positive, that I am still just as excited about creating and writing songs as I was, when I first started. So